L'honorable député de Saint-Jean.
Monsieur le Président, les libéraux se sont fait élire en promettant que leur priorité, ce serait les menaces tarifaires de Donald Trump. Et pourtant, ce n'est pas les nouvelles menaces tarifaires sur l'aluminium et sur l'acier qui sont discutées à Saskatoon aujourd'hui entre les premiers ministres. La priorité discutée, c'est de forcer le Québec à accepter un oléoduc de pétrole sale de l'Ouest. Les Québécois ont voté pour un gouvernement qui les protégerait face à Donald Trump et n'ont pas voté pour des pipelines. Est-ce que les libéraux vont remettre de l'ordre dans leurs priorités?
L'honorable ministre de l'Industrie.
Monsieur le Président, il va de soi que les Québécois sont très préoccupés par la guerre tarifaire qui a été lancée par la Maison-Blanche et c'est pourquoi ils nous ont élus avec 44 députés québécois. Merci. Une première depuis 1981 et d'ailleurs, nous allons être là pour défendre les jobs, les emplois dans le domaine de l'aluminium parce qu'on sait qu'il y a des menaces d'augmentation de tarifs contre le secteur. Nous allons travailler avec les élus, bien entendu, du Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean, de Bécancour, etc. Mais fondamentalement, nous allons nous tenir très fort pour faire en sorte de protéger nos emplois. Merci.
L'honorable député de Saint-Jean.
Monsieur le Président, avant même de rencontrer le Québec et les provinces aujourd'hui, hier, le premier ministre rencontrait des hommes d'affaires. Pas des représentants de l'acier ou de l'aluminium pour parler des nouvelles menaces tarifaires de Donald Trump. Non. Il rencontrait des PDG du secteur des énergies fossiles. Les pétrolières d'abord, le Québec et les provinces, bon deuxième. Monsieur le Président, le premier ministre n'a pas été élu pour être au service des pétrolières. Il a été élu pour protéger l'économie québécoise face aux menaces de Donald Trump. Comment ça se fait que les pétrolières passent en premier?
L'honorable ministre de l'Industrie.
Je pense que le Bloc québécois doit comprendre que le rôle du premier ministre, c'est de pouvoir parler à tous. Que ce soit dans le secteur de l'aluminium, que ce soit dans le secteur de l'acier, de l'énergie propre ou des énergies conventionnelles. C'est le boulot de premier ministre, quelque chose que le Bloc québécois ne saura jamais. Ceci dit, Monsieur le Premier ministre, Monsieur le Président, ce qui est fondamental, c'est que présentement, nous voulons bâtir. Nous allons investir dans des grands projets d'infrastructure et pour le Québec, un des projets d'infrastructure fondamental, c'est le train à grande vitesse de Windsor à Québec. Quelque chose que le Bloc québécois devrait soutenir.
L'honorable député de Jonquière.
Pendant que les prairies sont en feu, les premiers ministres sont à Saskatoon pour parler de pipelines de pétrole sale et d'abandon des évaluations environnementales. C'est ça, l'identité canadienne aujourd'hui, Monsieur le Président. Un premier ministre libéral qui parle aux pétrolières avant de parler à ses homologues. Des provinces qui isolent le Québec pour le forcer à accepter un pipeline. Tous ces gens-là nous répètent que c'est une question d'unité canadienne et d'intérêt national. Est-ce que le ministre de l'Identité canadienne pense lui aussi, sincèrement, que l'unité canadienne et l'intérêt national, c'est construire des pipelines pendant que les prairies sont en train de brûler?
L'honorable ministre de l'Industrie.
C'est la création d'emplois et la protection des emplois. Et c'est ce que les gens dans toutes les circonscriptions du Bloc québécois et toutes les circonscriptions ici se posent comme question. Qui est capable de livrer? Il y a seulement un parti, et c'est le Parti libéral, il y a seulement un gouvernement qui est capable de protéger et de faire en sorte de créer des jobs, et c'est nous. Et nous allons le faire en travaillant avec le gouvernement du Québec, bien entendu, en travaillant avec toutes les provinces. Mais il est fondamental dans cette guerre tarifaire de se battre contre cette rhétorique de la Maison-Blanche et en même temps de créer des emplois. Bravo.
The honourable member for Flamborough, Glen Brook, Brant North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister promised elbows up, promising dollar-for-dollar tariffs on the U.S. that would collect $20 billion. The Prime Minister broke that promise, giving Canadians elbows down when he dropped the tariffs on the U.S. to effectively zero. Now Trump is threatening to double tariffs on Canadian steel to 50%, attacking Canadian workers, their jobs, their livelihoods, and our industry. Can the Prime Minister tell our steel workers how much has been collected from tariffs on the U.S.?
L'honorable ministre des Finances et du Revenu national.
Speaker, clearly the member on the other side is misinformed, but let's talk about the great things we've been doing for Canadians lately. Mr. Speaker, last week we introduced as the first thing in this House air tax reduction for the middle class, Mr. Speaker. 22 million Canadians will benefit from that measure, Mr. Speaker. Not only we did that, but we also make sure that we remove the GST for first-time home buyers on their first house up to $1 million, Mr. Speaker. Those are measures that makes a difference in the life of Canadians. Those are measures that makes a difference in every region of Canada. Those are measures that build a Canada strong, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Flamborough, Glanbrook, Brant North.
So did you hear that, steel workers in Hamilton? Not a number in that arrogant answer. Well, I don't think that's surprising, given that this is a government whose Prime Minister believes that Canadians don't actually use steel in their daily lives. But for workers and businesses in my community of Hamilton who are looking for the support that might have come from the revenue of those counter tariffs, they're being left empty-handed, and they are worried about their future. So let me ask again, if the Liberals are truly fighting back, can they tell us how much has been collected from tariffs? How much? Just a number.
L'honorable ministre de l'Industrie.
Mr. Speaker, we know that there's a lot of anxiety across the country in the steel and aluminum sector, particularly in Hamilton. That's why I was in contact with the CEO of ArcelorMittal, the FASCO, over the weekend, talking to the head also of the Canadian steelworkers, making sure that our MPs also from Hamilton are really on board and as they're fighting for the jobs in their own communities. Mr. Speaker, this rhetoric coming out of the White House is extremely preoccupying, but meanwhile, no executive order has been signed. That's why we'll continue to fight with counter-tariffs to protect our workers and to make sure that we build national projects.
The honourable member for New Tecumseh, Gwillimbury.
Mr. Speaker, unemployment is up 7%. Youth unemployment is 14%. Canadians can't find work, and the burden of government red tape is making things even worse. Small businesses spend 32 working days every year wrapped up in excessive regulations. It's no wonder they can't afford to hire or innovate. Will the Liberals finally cut the red tape strangling our economy so businesses can hire and Canadians can find a job?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs for Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, this government is focused on making sure that employers have the quality, skilled talent that they need to grow their small, medium-sized businesses and ensure that corporations across this country have the kind of innovation and talent that they are all asking for. So I would recommend that that member listen to the employers and check in with the employers in his riding who are talking about the need for more talent. We'll be there, Mr. Speaker, for every Canadian that wants to ensure they can too get a great job.
The honourable member for New Tecumseh, Gwillimbury.
It's been 10 years, and I have been listening to Canadians, and the minister should listen to Canadians who can't find a job. There are fewer new entrepreneurs than ever. Productivity and growth are down. Forget the scissors, forget the pruners, hum them. We need a chainsaw to cut through all this red tape. It's time to clear a path for Canadians to be successful and to hire. So why do the Liberals keep choking Canadian workers and businesses with their red tape?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, as the Prime Minister often says, no one can do to Canada the kind of bad things to be against the good things that Canadians can do for themselves. The Prime Minister and ministers are in Saskatoon today doing the hard work of removing red tape in the form of internal trade barriers so we can have one Canadian economy and not 13 Canadian economies. This will lower prices up to 15%, productivity up to 7%, and add $200 billion to the economy, Mr. Speaker. That's eliminating red tape. That's standing up for Canada.
The honourable member for Windsor West.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised elbows up, promising dollar-for-dollar tariffs on the U.S. and claimed he would collect $20 billion. The Prime Minister broke down that promise, giving Canadian steel and auto workers an elbow in the ribs when he dropped tariffs on the U.S. to effectively zero. Now President Trump is threatening to double tariffs on Canadian steel to 50%, attacking Canadian workers, their jobs, their livelihoods, and our industry. Can the Prime Minister tell us how much he has actually collected from tariffs, and so far, how is he going to help secure jobs in Windsor?
The Honorable, l'Honorable Ministre de l'Industrie.
Not only we will make sure that Canadian steel and aluminum is in our major projects, but we will make sure that all the investments we're putting in defense are to create jobs, which will have an impact on the steel and aluminum sector. And that is why the United Steelworkers mentioned at a time where our steel and aluminum sectors are being hit by massive U.S. tariffs, this is the kind of leadership we've been demanding and that has been delivered by this government. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Oxford.
Prime Minister promised elbows up. He promised dollar-for-dollar tariffs on the U.S., and he promised he would collect $20 billion in revenue. But in reality, he quietly dropped the tariffs on the U.S., practically to zero. And now Donald Trump is threatening to double tariffs on Canadian steel to 50%. This will destroy our industry and punish our workers. Since the Canadian tax revenue was supposed to support Canadian steel workers, can the Prime Minister tell us how much has he collected so far for jobs in Oxford? And just give us just the number.
L'Honorable Ministre des Finances et du Revenu National.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to see in this House the same movement we've seen with steel workers in the industry, Mr. Speaker. This is a nation where we need to come together as a nation. This is a moment to fight together these unjustified tariffs, Mr. Speaker. This is a time to make sure we protect our industry and our workers. This is a time where we need to build this country, like the Prime Minister is doing with the premiers today in Saskatoon, Mr. Speaker. I just wish in this House that everyone would stand up to defend our industry, defend our workers, and build Canada strong, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Oxford.
Surprise, surprise, they can't give us a number. And now Trump's 50% tariffs on steel will shut down our plants across our country. Thousands of jobs are on the line. Layoffs have already started in Oxford. There is anxiety on our floor shops and our kitchen tables. And it's not just Trump's tariffs that are killing jobs, it's also the Liberal industrial carbon tax. That's right. If the Prime Minister can't get a deal with Trump on tariffs, will at least give our workers a fighting chance. Remove the Liberal industrial carbon tax today.
L'Honorable Ministre de l'Industrie.
Mr. Speaker, we know that we need to make sure that we fight back with strong counter tariffs against this rhetoric coming out of the White House. But you know what, Mr. Speaker, our strategy has been working. There's only 2 countries on earth that have put counter tariffs against tariffs by the Americans, China and us. And by the way, today the U.S. Chamber of Commerce said that this threat of 50% tariffs in the steel and aluminum sector was completely unacceptable. We will work with our allies within the American society, and we will make sure that we fight back.
Hear, hear.